Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to a new video looking at a Vayne build we haven't seen in ages, and when we did, it was never used properly either, really. We've seen this specific build twice so far from Worlds, from Uzi, one of the best Vayne pro players probably, and then Bang from SKT. Both used exactly the same build. And then after I made this video, Reckless played a similar version, so I've had to re-edit this. First time I thought like maybe this was a bit of fun and stuff, but SKT used this in the quarterfinals, so it's definitely a legit build that they want to win with. So the normal build we see is full crit, Shiv, Infinity Edge, first two items. We're maxing our Q and then our W afterwards. That was the best build. It offered a massive burst, but then we had the Vayne changes recently, which means actually this one has apparently overtaken it. The Worlds build is a Rage Blade rush, then Phantom Dancer and going crit after that, turning Vayne into almost a Cogmore, I guess, like a turret early game. This is actually a really good build right now because you pop your ultimate when you have 6 stacks and you go absolutely nuts. And if you manage to pick up a kill, you're going to get that reset in there as well now. You spike really hard at just one item early into the game, so you're going to be effective at the one item phase when you start to have these first fights. Obviously we have the W damage as silver bolts, and that is why we did this when Rage Blade was added to the game first of all, because it was a lot of fun. It applies on hit effects 3 times every 2 hits, so that is now 3 silver bolts every 2 autos and a lot of true damage. There is one extra thing now though that means we are seeing this at Worlds: Sensor, our favorite item in the game. This Vayne build only works with Sensor. If you have a normal support, you just go the crit build. So Sensor is 20 to 35% attack speed and 20 to 35 on hit damage, which is a lot of damage in a heavy attack speed build. You're attacking all the time, you apply the damage all the time. Vayne is going to be getting Rage Blade and Phantom Dancer first 2 items. With your boots too, that is actually 153% attack speed bonus. With Sensor, that's an extra 30%, so 180% bonus, which is crazy. Put that next to a Tristana, normal Tristana build at 2 items, that is going to be 70% or 100% with Sensor, so almost half of that. This next part is actually why everyone started rushing Rage Blade on Cogmore, Varus, and now Vayne as well. Rage Blade applies the on-hit damage from Sensor. Not only will you be attacking very fast, you'll be applying a lot of extra damage. Every 2 auto attacks, you'll be doing roughly 90 bonus damage from Sensor in the midpoint of the game. At one item, that is where it gets ridiculous. With Rage Blade, it's very close to having a wit's end in damage extra for free from Sensor, like 2,000 gold worth of damage that you're getting from your support. For Vayne, you'll be also proccing your silver bolts every 2 hits, right? Dealing 12% of their maximum health, which is obviously making this even more ridiculous. The point is though, we turn Vayne from a very weak early game champion who needs 2 items into a powerhouse, all because we have Rage Blade and Sensor on our support. So what about runes then? Reckless went Rage Blade into runes instead of Rage Blade into Phantom Dancer. Does that really change anything? Not really. It just follows the Cogmore line even more than before. It looks kind of stupid really, but the on-hit damage from Sensor applies on all 3 bolts. It also gives Vayne more wave clear to farm side lanes quickly, which is something this build actually really lacks. It's probably more overall DPS in a teamfight situation. It's just going to be worse 1v1. If you can hit more than one person, you'll be doing more damage. That sounds a little bit obvious, but that's kind of why you build Runans. And also finally, the lifesteal that you build is going to apply on all 3 bolts, meaning you actually get way more healing and you're more durable. At Worlds, they are putting 2 points into their Q and then maxing their W instead now, which is really rare for a professional Vayne player. Most of them actually want to max their Q first so they can trade more, but this gives them a much better synergy with Rage Blade. They max their W with an attack speed build and max their Q with an AD build. Getting a Phantom Dancer after this means we have more attack speed to use on hit damage more, better kiting from the passives on there, and we start to build some crit for the later stages of the game. On hit damage is really good early game especially. So on hit is going to be 30 damage early and 30 damage late game. It doesn't matter whether the person you're hitting has 1,000 health or 3,000 health, it doesn't scale up anymore as you go through the game and they get more defenses. This is why Rage Blade is so amazing as a rush item now. When people have 1,500 health, you're dealing 90 bonus every 2 hits. That is a lot of damage. We can then move into the crit damage after that though, which means that yes, we still have the crazy true damage every 2 hits for late game, but we also have big crits to keep up with the other AD carries now. Cogmore has a very good win rate early, but normally gets overtaken by crit champions. Vayne doesn't really have that issue because it's more of a hybrid build. That is also why I think this build works for solo queue and why I want to talk about it in this video. It is not that risky at all. You'll be good early game and late game as long as you have Sensor to buff your early damage. This is another massive thing that people don't really understand right now. Sensor is always good to have on your team for sure, but it's actually so much better early game than it is later. The on-hit damage means a lot more early. As we said, 30 damage off 1,000 health is going to be more than 30 damage off of 3,000 health. The attack speed means a lot more early as well because you don't have that much attack speed yet in the game early, so it's making more of a difference. It is still good obviously to have a Sensor like late game. It does offer like some extra damage and stuff, but it's really not that big of a deal anymore. We are basically playing playing around the biggest power spikes for both Rage Blade and Sensor early game at one item. That is actually why it's so insane, and that is why people at Worlds are abusing this so much right now. I don't really want to make this video too long. I just thought it was something cool and actually something we can use in solo queue from Worlds as well, but not many people really understand why they are doing it and why this build has been so good. So thank you for watching, lads, but let's leave you with the robots.